It was full of rhetoric, Karen, and that's because expectations for any kind of genuine progress here are quite low. What we know is the goal of reducing emissions has really been overshadowed by the need to maintain energy security this year, with Russia's war in Ukraine, the energy crisis, soaring inflation, all undermining policy efforts for progress. So we did hear from the UN Secretary General. He said that the world is on a highway to climate hell with our foot still firmly on the accelerator. So leaders here have been talking about mitigation, adaptation and climate financing, as well as loss and damage, which is a relatively new agenda item to be discussed here. But you do also get the sense that the gap between ambition and execution is wide, and that more work is going to need to be done here for COP27 to be considered a success just yet. There has been some key announcements, though. We did see the UK PM Rishi Sunak doubling down on his £11.6 billion climate pledge. He also met with the French President Emmanuel Macron here for the first time as leader, and Macron also used his address to call on countries like the US and China to do more to pay up. Interestingly, though, and perhaps most critically, no show from the leaders of China and India. These are two of the world's biggest emitters, and also absent from the conversation here are leaders from the oil and gas industry. That's, of course, despite their own pledges to be part of the solution. The other interesting thing we've been focusing in on here are these accusations of climate rhetoric and greenwashing as well, all running high, with Coca-Cola, which is one of the world's biggest users of single-use plastics, coming under fire for being allowed to sponsor this event. Yes, Coca-Cola is a key sponsor of COP27. We spoke with the Australian billionaire Andrew Forrest. He weighed in on that and the progress that's been made here so far. Listen in.
We're stepping up and saying we can step beyond fossil fuels. We're happy that you guys are the best energy companies in the world, but not if you do a Coca-Cola. Not if the only package you serve your energy up in is fossil fuel. You're forcing your customers to actually pollute and destroy the planet for their kids. You're a huge energy company. Step up. Don't say I'm doing 10 or 15% or maybe even 20% of last year's budget when your profits have gone up multiple this year. It's probably a fraction now. Serve the energy up where consumers want you to serve the energy up in, and that is with pollution-free energy, and of course that is only renewable energy.
Andrew Forrest there. So throughout the rest of the week, we are going to see more world leaders arriving here in the seaside resort town of Sharm el-Sheikh, including US President Joe Biden, who is set to arrive on Friday. Of course, he's tied up at home at the moment because of the start of the US midterm elections. So it'll be interesting to see what he has to say. But above all, we're still waiting to learn of any major climate progress at this conference. And as I said before, you really get the sense that it probably won't be until COP28 in the UAE where real commitments and progress towards climate action is made. It's back over to you.
Yeah, well, Dan, I guess you'd have to have the leaders of the largest emitters actually attending, wouldn't you? Like China, India, Russia, Indonesia, to make some of that progress. So perhaps you're right. It'll have to be the next meeting. Thank you so much for the coverage. We'll see you a little bit later on.